Hello. Can everyone hear me? Hi. Feel free to unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
It's so good to see everyone.
It's great to see you.
Thank you so much for coming. So while we wait to see if other people trickle in, I just thought it would be good to start with a little bit of an introduction on the festival. Thank you so much, really, everyone, for being here. It's been such a pleasure having all your films this year. This year, as you know, and Tati, as you know, because you're a festival alum, the festival changed names to the Ceres Food Film Festival last year, and for all the other seasons, it was called the Faces of Hunger Film Festival, which was really more about, the name really, meant like food hunger issues. But then with the growth of the festival, it really became obvious that it was so much more than just hunger, even though I know Jim and Parker, both your film is really about hunger. But it became about, environmental and health issues. And we needed a name that really incorporated all that. And so there was born the Ceres Food Film Festival, which you all participated in this year. And it's been such an honor to have you with us. As we wait for people to come in, and also just to give you a little more time, I wanted to tell you a little bit about our work in as Palms for Life, just so you know where all this came from. So the Ceres Food Film Festival was started by Hannah, who is right here. She's the founder of Palms for Life, which has been around since 2006. And it was after 30 or more years working with the World Food Program, the United Nations World Food Program, that Hannah thought that, I can't stop my mission of advocacy. And so just a few months out of retirement, she founded Palms for Life. And along with that, living here in the US, she realized, wow, it's amazing. We're doing all this work around the world, but how can we make a conversation happen more about these food issues here affecting us all, even in developed countries? And that's where Faces of Hunger was born. Our current work now, which I encourage you to check out, is working with the most vulnerable communities in Southern Africa, which are like the San. It's marginalized communities, they're indigenous, and we have a many years project going on there. And Hannah can say a little bit more about that, which we would love to hear about. So please, Hannah, why don't you share?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Marianne. Everybody, hello. Thank you and welcome to this space, this beautiful space of the Ceres Food Film Festival. Yes, so then very briefly, we are implementing right now a very ambitious, I would say, a social development program in the whole Southern African region. And the target groups are indeed the most marginalized indigenous groups that inhabit that area and have been there forever. One of the most original indigenous population of the area. However, today they live in extreme poverty. So our work is to try to take these people out of poverty. And as you know, for many poor people in the world, poverty doesn't mean not to have cash in hand, although that is also an enormous element, but it also often means having a roof that lets the water fall through during rainy season, not being able to send your kids to school, not having access to medicine, and so many other, not having access to knowledge even, to all the wonderful innovations that happen everywhere in the world. Very marginalized people are completely isolated and they can't access that. So we are trying to completely change that, and we are offering scholarships to people who haven't been able to complete their studies, and they respond very wonderfully to that. We are bringing hydroponics in communities where there is drought, so making an excellent use of that innovative technique to grow vegetables. We are building early childhood development centers, training teachers in the Montessori system, and advocating, as Marianne says, we are advocates for, among other things, we advocate for the kids to have the right to eat while they're in school, and not just a lunch, but also breakfast. We advocate for sanitation, for kids to have access to decent toilets and everything that's necessary. And then we teach the parents in the same little school that we have built. Parents come in the evening because we also put solar energy there, so there is light. And the parents are following adult literacy. And as we do that, we are also going to talk to them about parenting. So it is like small things start, and then if you do real development, in order for it to be sustainable, we just have to look at every angle, and we try to do that. So that's our work, our everyday work. And we are very, very blessed, really, to be able to do that with Marianne, who is too modest to say that she's our co-founder. And so, yes, we are a family foundation, but we have a wonderful system of segregation of duties. So we don't call each other mother and daughter when we work together.
It works.
But as soon as the work time is over, we are Ima and Piccola and all those things. So.
Thank you, Hannah. That was great. So, yes, in our commitment to food advocacy, next year, just so you know, the festival goes on. There will definitely be some live screening in addition in New York somewhere, whether it be in Brooklyn or Manhattan. There will also be some live action. So please, filmmakers, if you are so inspired to continue your work in food, we hope that you join us next year in building this community with such an important conversation around food issues, which we're so grateful to have you with us on. For everyone watching, I would love everyone to know that please watch the films. You have access until actually October 23rd. Even though our programming ends tonight, the films are accessible until the 23rd, which is a few more days. And we would also like you to just a special mention to these two wonderful films from MIT students, where MIT students from the JWAF Center have come up with solutions around some of the world's biggest problems in food. And so they came up with technical scientific solutions. And two of those films that were as finalists this year are there in an inspiring work section. So take a look. They're very short and wonderful to watch. Also, I want to mention, take a look at the Q&As we have on YouTube, which some of our filmmakers participated on. They're a little bit more of an in-depth time to spend with these filmmakers who have devoted such careful and thoughtful attention to food advocacy and just these food conversations. So the link to that is also available when you go on our event platform and of course on our website. So without further ado, I would like Hannah to present some of the prizes. So please, Hannah, go on.
Thank you, Marianne. So here is the list of the prizes that we're going to give out tonight. The first prize for best film, voted by jurors, it's a cash prize of $1,000, which is going to go to the film Coquetti, Walking with Caribou by Galloway.
Now, Chad could not be with us tonight, and he sent a video, which I will be happy to share with everyone. Just give me one moment. Just one moment. Oh, you can't hear him?
Can't hear
Can't
it.
hear it.
No.
Oh, you can't hear him? Okay, hang on 1 second. Let me see about
How about now?
Hey everyone, sorry I couldn't make it there tonight, but I just wanted to send a video to say just how grateful myself and the entire team is for this incredible honor. I want to thank everybody at the festival, and I want to really thank the Clicho for opening up their homes and their communities and the North for us to help them tell this super important story about caribou in the Arctic. Thank you again for everyone at the festival and all the other films. It was an honor to be included. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Well, those are the words of Chad, which we're so happy to. We loved his film and his work, and so we encourage all of you to take a look at his film. And also, he has another film in the festival called Grass Farmers. So if you get a chance to watch it, we highly encourage it, and we highly recommend them. So Hannah, please go on.
Here comes the second prize. This is for Best Director, also voted by our jurors, a cash prize of $750, which goes to the film called FoodForest by Louis de Jaeger. So an applause for him. And I'm sure we will be in touch.
Yes, Hannah, why don't you say a little bit about this film? You know, being a Belgian yourself, I know that you have some thoughts.
Yes, absolutely. So what I can say about that film is that, of course, many of us have watched that film. It is an eye-opener because we had no idea, and I personally didn't have an idea, and I'm sure many, of how much individual people in many of the European countries are concerned with where the world is going, are concerned with the way we eat and what we eat and the food that we grow and how our environment is evolving. And that film shows the concern of the people who decided to make radical changes in their everyday life and have found beauty and meaning in alternative life solutions that they have fully embraced, many of them as a couple, as an enterprise, as a family enterprise. But there is so much evidence that what they do is not out of anything intellectual, but just out of love for humanity, a love for the world, a love for nature, and that is so perfectly well described. I would say that most films that we have seen are inspiring, so we could really say something similar about most of the films that we have watched. And David, who is my husband, who is here, he knows, because as we went to bed, even at that moment, I was still telling him how much all the films that we have been watching have been moving. And these were like the last words before falling asleep was, oh, how much beauty. So yes, so I just want everybody to know that. And yeah, so.
Thank you, Hannah. So thank you so much. And moving along.
Now, the third prize for the most creative food documentary, voted also by jurors, is a cash prize of $500, and that goes to the film by Tati and Nguyen called Creative Space Bread Studio with Tyler, whom we have seen here yesterday. He shared a moment with us during our panel.
We're
And
so happy to have you with us, Tati.
I thank you so much. I had no idea. It was really what a surprise. I was really happy to have had Tyler with us. It was such a great collaboration. And I want to thank, like the Creative Space people for the Children's Museum of the Arts, who's an amazing organization that builds community. They are committed to providing arts education at 100% free for all the New York City kids. They're having, you know, creative projects like building the first float on the Halloween float, and they're throwing block parties. And I love community. I love that we're able to share our skills and our creativity and our stories with each other, and the sense of wonder in the world. Even though it's difficult out there, I think if we band together and create beauty in the world, there will be beauty in the world. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be among all of you, these amazing filmmakers.
Thank you so much, Tati. Thank you. And please, could you let our audience know how we can follow your work or what you're up to next?
I have a website, tatinguyen.com, and I also have been living a legacy of films and shorts for the Children's Museum of the Arts in the Look Make Show, which is a learning management system that is a free resource for schools that have no budget in the arts, and they are able to leverage that as art education for the kids. And we all, you know, take part in doing something, the world will be so much better. I'm so amazing. I'm just, and I think I'm going to be working on a little short graphic novel that speak about the flight of refugees in the world, because there's been so much xenophobia on top of people having to deal with food insecurity and not being able to control their own destiny. They have, you know, on top of that, these biases that are unfounded. And I would really like to address that for the next generation. And my hopes is that the next generation to carry on the good work. And yeah, if we don't have a future, then there's no fight. But I hope that there will be a fight. And I'm just so honored.
Yeah, wonderful.
Thank you
Tati.
so much.
Graphic novel, I love it. So we'll have a link to your website also on the ceresfilmfestival.org website when we have your information there, along with your name for the prize. Please take a look at her website, which will be listed there. So thank you so much, Tati.
Thank you.
Thank you. So moving along. So those are the three winning films voted by the jurors. Now, in addition, we have a supporter, we have a donor to the festival who very much wants to support women storytellers. She is a World Food Program alum who knows Hannah and heard about the festival and really wanted to support the work. So in addition to the three prizes that we just listed, we would also like to award 3 films, Through the Lens by Costanza Bruna, Voices from the Barrens by Nancy Ghertner, and Visible Farmer Series by Gisela Kaufmann, with $500 each as women storyteller prizes. So thank you so much. None of them are here tonight, but they will be informed. And last, but definitely not least, we have basically Moved Us prizes, which is, as the Ceres Film Festival team, we obviously watch all these submissions, and there are some movies that just moved us inexplicably, and we would love to award them as well. And those films are What We're Hungry For, How Food Pantries Fed Rural Wisconsin During the Pandemic by Jim and Parker Winship, who we are very lucky to be with us tonight. And that's a $500 grant for this team, this wonderful team. So thank you so much for your film that moved us so much as a festival. We are so honored to have had you with us, and we would love to hear from you now.
Hold on just a second. Okay, well, wow. This is it's a bit overwhelming. You know, I started this in March of 2020 because I felt like this was a story that needed to be told. Looking back, neither of us have made a documentary before. Parker makes short films, and I didn't have any idea how much work it was going to be, how much money it was going to cost, and how long it was going to take. It took us a year to figure out. It took us a
The
year to
life of
figure out what
film.
the structure was, and the response in Wisconsin has been wonderful. We showed this as a plenary session at a poverty conference in Madison, Wisconsin on Tuesday, and it was just a great experience. So and to get this kind of endorsement is also great. I just wanted to, before I turned over to Parker, I just want to say one other thing, because Parker came back from LA during the pandemic and agreed to work with me on this. And I talked to the 5 people that were showed in there. I talked every week for a year, and then kept in touch. And the big thing I said is I set out to make a documentary and ended up making a documentary in 5 good friends. And I think the 5 people in the film are people that we're all going to get together at a film festival in Wisconsin in November, and people that I plan to stay in touch with for as long as we can. So thank you again, Parker.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just say thank you to Jim, who's my dad. Also, thank you so much for getting me involved in this. I was working on really different kinds of stuff, and this was such a rich experience to learn about this subject matter, to meet these people, to go to places I never would have gone to, and hear stories I never would have gone to. And then, I think also to just grow as a storyteller and as a filmmaker also through the process of making it. So, thank you, Dad. And also, of course, thank you, Ceres, everybody involved in the festival, not just for this recognition here at the end, but the entire festival has, really been a great experience. For us, you guys have been so communicative. You've put together a wonderful group of films. We did the Q&A and the panel, and it was so clear to us just how invested you were in these movies and giving them a spotlight to the films themselves and also the issues they explore. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Parker. Hannah, I know you would love to say something to Jim and Parker, I imagine.
Yes, absolutely. Because one thing I wanted to say about your film, why I found it so inspiring, it was actually eye-opening. And what I thought is that you might not even have realized as you started making the film how it would evolve and how it would end. And it became sort of a journey that we were living with you while the film was playing. We had that same kind of, oh, and what's coming next? And when in the middle of the film, you say something happened after several months into the pandemic, suddenly the warehouses, the food banks didn't get any visitors. They were stuck there with all their food and something happened. What happened? It was that cash injected, the trillions that were injected in the economy and those individual payments made. And that film, to me, gave us, I think, to all of us who fight and every day try to understand what is hunger, how can we end hunger? Is it really such an absurd thought to say, let's end hunger? In fact, your film put very much the point as to what the issue is of being poor, not being able to access the food that people need in the most dignifying way. And that is hunger. That is food insecurity. So by giving people the means and allowing them to access the food that they need, the quality food, is really the answer to food insecurity, at least in a country like the US, because food exists, but poverty exists as well. And if no policy changes with regards to increasing people's income when they work, then we will never be able to solve that issue of access. But those thoughts were very clearly, they were a very clear outcome of your work. And that's why I really wanted to thank you very much for your contribution to the festival.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I can't even express how much that means. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. And in addition, another film that moved us very much that we would also like to award a $500 grant is Mexcalli by Jonathan, who is here. Jonathan Barojas, who is here. We're very happy to have him here. And Jonathan, please, a few words.
Muchas gracias. Thank you very much. I feel a lot of gratitude with this festival. I want to take this incentive to make more projects. Because that's how I want to take this, like an incentive to make more. And I want to thank, of course, the families that let me in to show his work, his art. And thank you with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
So we hope also to everyone watching that you may be very encouraged to watch these films in addition to everything else we have for the next few days. That is really all we have for our awards ceremony. Now, in addition, I would love everyone to take a look at our website for some of the wonderful shirt and tote bags we have, which of course all filmmakers will be getting in the mail. And please follow us on social media. Links to that, which is much easier to just take a look, are on the Eventive site as well as on our platform. And we will be in touch next year when submissions are open and also when the festival will happen, which will always be around World Food Day. And that is all. Thank you so much to everyone who has joined us. And until next year, goodbye.
Mayan, bravo. Bravo, Mayan. Great production.
The ever supportive mother. Thank you so much. Okay. Bye.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
everybody. Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
And Hannah, working with a child can be wonderful, correct?
Oh, and with the husband. Everybody is here. We are such a wonderful team. Yes, it is wonderful. So you had that experience, Jim.
This, the thing of working with, and I think Parker's all, but working with Parker for the last 2 years has been one of the best experiences of my life. And when you talked about mother-daughter, I mean, yeah, when we argued, we were not arguing as father and son. We were arguing as filmmakers, from my perspective as someone who's been a social worker and social work professor, and then someone who's outside that. And so those were, it has been wonderful. It has been wonderful. So.
Do you have more projects to work with your son?
Yeah, I'm hoping in this, that what you see in the documentary is Marty Lee from Washara County, which is a county in the middle of Wisconsin, 25,000 people, big county, and the largest, I don't want to say city, but the largest place is 2,000 people. Quarter people are 65 and older, and it's poor. And so what I'm hoping to do and to raise money to do is to make a documentary called Growing Older in a Rural Wisconsin County, to talk about those issues, but also to make sure, because when I look at the docs that have been made about older folks, that the strengths don't come through that much. It's mostly about the problems people have, and the problems are real, but also the fact that, in many ways they keep the volunteer organizations going, and there's, and so, so if we can get some funding, and then we'd like to do that again, to spend enough time talking to people to try to not going into and figuring out what the story is, but which is the wonderful thing about, documentaries and qualitative research, which I've done some, is that you get information, you listen, and then eventually the story emerges. So anyway, so I'm hoping that would be the case. It's not food, but it is food,
It
because
is,
it's
absolutely. And what is beautiful about it also is a little bit in line with what Tati said of the importance of the community.
Yes.
So the more you work at the local level and you're decentralized, the more energy you have from people who live there to participate in any kind of initiative that they would embrace. And these experiences are very often so successful. And we would like, even in our Food Film Festival, to document those local solutions, how people manage all their problems, getting organized locally. And I think that an organization like AARP would certainly have some funding. I don't know, David, what you would say about that, but would they not be interested, you think, in funding a film such as the one that Jim is proposing?
Should I stop the live stream so we can continue talking? Everyone is still hearing this, I hope you know.
That's fine. That's
fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it's helpful.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, although it might be onerous to go through the whole grant, seeking process. It might be easier to get money for what sounds like a very valuable film from some of the local people in Wisconsin. If you can, raise some money locally, they'll help to promote it and so forth. It's
so we're trying to, we will be raising money from in Wisconsin, but I think that the other thing is that, as I said before, making documentaries, it just costs a lot of money. And so I think the more places that we can look, the better, and the more, and if people know people who are interested in this issue, then please, send those on to us. Yeah,
sure.
We will, for sure.
I do. Since Jonathan, you're still here, I didn't get to ask if you have any next projects planned that you could share with us, or your next project might be.
Yeah, I have a project. It's about a refinery.
A refinery?
Refinery.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to talk about the pollution or that aspect. I want to talk about how the presence, how the magnitude of these places is so overpowering. I don't know, in contrast with a person, and it's another route completely that I make with Mexcalli. I want to make this sensorial. I really want to focus in the sound. I really want to focus in the magnitude of this place, and it's completely different.
Well, certainly, Jonathan, what your film did and why we all loved it so much is it revealed to us a world that we had no idea existed. That's why your film was so an eye-opener. And
I wish you had said this before, Hannah.
Yes, but it's good still that I say it.
Yeah.
For you to understand why we were ready to give you that additional prize. And this is something that we never imagined that this exists, and how people live that, and this dedication to a very old tradition, which only a handful of people know exactly how to do the mezcal, and they have the culture of that process, and they have the whole thing. They know exactly how to do it all. It's very beautiful and very powerful, because from the moment they collect the fruit until finally that beautiful drink comes out is very beautiful to see. So I'm sure you will again reveal something that is not known by most people in your next films. Sure. Yes.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome, Marianne.
Thank you so much.
So good night,
Well,
all.
Yes,
Good
good
night.
night.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you
Good
so much.
night, everybody. Ciao,
Bye-bye.
Rafael.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Adiós,
Rafael,
Jonathan. Un
bye.
placer. Adiós. Chao, Mayan. Gracias por todo.
Bye. A ti. Chao.